and I'll just get it right out of the way. I am staying with the Dallas Fuel. So if you're just there for that, staying with the Dallas Fuel. Sorry to disappoint. No, but really excited for it. I'm going to be staying on with the staff, staying as like an assistant. Yeah, I'm going to be doing more analysis work, and I'm also going to be doing some more content work. And we'll get into kind of like why I'm going to be balancing analysis and content in 2020 a little bit later. So yeah, it's been one of the most interesting, exciting, stressful, educational years of my entire life, and just the stories that I could tell. It's been the stories that I could tell but won't tell. But no, it's been so I don't even know where to, because I want to catch you guys up to as much as possible. But there's still some things that I gotta keep secret. You know, like O12. But yeah. So that's the and then the other thing is, I'm sure some people wanted me to kind of talk about the July 14th tweet as well. I've deleted it since then, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. But so I want to kind of chat just to let you guys know what it's been like in the Overwatch League for me, and then 2020 going forward, things are going to be insane. Like there's so much cool stuff that I'm doing that I just cannot wait to share. It's there's like two projects. There's two projects that I can't share yet, but I like really, really, really want to. So it's like whatever I talk about today is going to be pretty awesome, but there's going to be like two super sweet projects that you probably won't hear about until the first week of October. So we talked, I'm going to be staying with the Dallas Fuel. Basically what happened this year is that July 14th, I put that tweet out where I took a break from social media. Okay, this part is going to be the hard part to say. So being in the Overwatch League is obviously a very stressful thing, and I don't feel like I was put under more stress than others in the league, but I handled it poorly. And the reason that I handled it poorly is because I've since found out, we don't know for sure. I'm working with a psychologist on it, but I'm working with the diagnosis of bipolar 2. So quite a lot of mood swings from very, very positive to quite depressed. Okay, so I'd been depressed for quite a while, quite a few years, and I just kind of like dealt with it. And I know that streaming, I never came across this stream, which, you know, I now realize that it's, well, from bipolar. But that made things pretty difficult while I tried to keep myself together. And originally I thought that I didn't think I was bipolar or anything like that, and I don't want to be like the bipolar streamer going forward or anything like that. I don't want it to be an identity that people associate with me. I don't want it to be anything like that. Like, I'm not. It's not an excuse for any of my actions. It's not an excuse for anything that I did well. It's not an excuse for anything I did poorly or anything like that. It's just part of who I am, and it's something that I'll deal with either through like psychologists, therapy, medication, whatever it is. So like, it's not going to beat me. I'm going to and a big thanks there to Dallas Fuel. I know that Dallas Fuel gets a little bit of a bad rep in public for like the mental health of players, and you know that, you know, obviously there's some people who have the opinion that like the team is less than the sum of its parts, which, you know what, considering the amount of talent that we have on the Dallas Fuel, there's no reason that we should be going on such a large loss streak. But no, Dallas Fuel is a great org, and Envy, especially the guys from Envy, I can't thank them enough, especially with how they helped me. I held it together through stage 3, and then I couldn't handle stage 4. So I took a break, and I didn't get to finish out the season, which is going to be a disappointment to me for a long time. But no, Mike, Tasmo, Arrow, they all very understanding and helpful people. Got me in contact with the sports psychologist who helped me figure out a lot of things about myself and my life that I hadn't realized or known before. God, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Oh. Okay. So, despite how I am right now, I'm doing a lot better. Um, so one of the things that I didn't realize that caused me to not realize that I was bipolar or potentially had bipolar 2, not bipolar 1. So it's not like breaks from reality delusions or anything like that. It's just elevated mood, depressive mood. So that's a good thing. It's that I'm not insane. Hooray. Um, but I had always thought that bipolar was like a switch, or it was kind of like small time frames, like one moment in a conversation, you're super happy, and the other conversation, you're like super depressed. And apparently it happens for like much longer time frames than that, which caused me to kind of never really question it at all. Um, yeah, so like, I guess knowing is half the battle. Now that I know kind of what's happening, I can deal with it a lot better, and I have been dealing with it a lot better. And July 14th, the tweet that I put out on July 14th was when I had kind of like the stress got to me, and I had kind of like a nervous breakdown. I was like, I need to figure out. It was the tweet there was kind of like a step back from social media, as well as like we were supposed to return to preparation for stage 4, if I remember. And I was like, I need some more time. So I went up, saw family, took a little bit, but yeah, I had like the July 14th. I'd never been like a person who had anxiety or was nervous or anything like that before. But then July 14th, just because of everything that was going on, I just developed like became super anxious. I've since dealt with that, and it's just kind of like I was like one of the reasons why I couldn't finish out stage 4 with the team is just because I was having anxiety attacks, and it was like I was completely like aware, and it was like, why are you doing this? Stop, please. I need to work. I need to help. I need to help the Fuel win games, please. Please stop. But since then, the last anxiety attack that I had was like August 18th or something like that, and then I've been good since then. So this is just that was just like, I don't know. I've been very stable and happy for like since the 18th, which is, I don't know, almost 2 weeks now. So like, and then yeah, no. So I guess one of the main things is that like I was definitely had kind of an unhealthy, I guess suppose, relationship with social media. I've talked about that previously, but it's kind of like I'm coming back. I'm going to do it healthier, and I'm going to be kind of making content that I like because I want to, and I'm going to stop making content because I think it's what people want. I'm going to start making content just because it's what I want to do, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, there's other streamers. So, yeah, that's the good thing is that like I am going to come back to social media. I have to kind of, I have to watch my mood and all that. But no, like I am really, 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 really looking forward to kind of getting back to the way things used to be with just streaming casually and interacting with the absolutely just like, I don't know, look at chat. It's been like I haven't been able to look at chat. Like when I tweeted that goodbye social media post, like I was convinced that I was not coming back. I was convinced I was not coming back to social media. And then 1,980 people either emailed me or posted in Discord and sent me a message. 1,980 people sent messages of support. I was just like, it's like, that channel is still sitting on Discord, and it's just like, I can't. It's so hard to read. Just, like, I guess one of the things that like really shocked me about streaming is that like I'd never encountered evil people before. I'd never really encountered them. I was operating off of the assumption that all people were inherently good. And then streaming taught me that that is not true. And I know that's probably like an immature thing, but to just assume that everyone's good. But, maybe I'm just too optimistic for that. But, it was one of those, like, just the overwhelming amount of support compared to any of the, like, evil or hate. I do want to differentiate. It's not like the haters or the people who criticized my actions or anything like that. Like, those people aren't the people I'm talking about. If you don't like my content, if you don't like the way I acted during the early parts of the Overwatch League, that's totally fine. That's a fine criticism. Those people didn't make me quit. It's like, it was like the truly malevolent people. But then it was just kind of like a realization about how much positivity there was compared to that. And it was like, I need to step back. I need to, like, if there's like 90% of people who like the content and 10% who don't, why the hell am I giving all my attention to 10%? Like, why am I trying to make the people who don't like me and probably never will like me or my content? Like, fuck them. I don't care. Why should I care? There's 90% of everyone else likes it, enjoys the content. I enjoyed their presence. So it's just like, I was focusing way too much on the negatives. And yeah, so there's a lot of just like, whether you want to call it like a quarter life crisis or whatever, this was very much a maturing year for me. I learned a lot of things. And, I had considered myself a pretty smart person before I started, but now at kind of like the end of this year of the Overwatch League, I have learned a lot, but it's like Socrates, really. It's, despite how much I've learned and how much better of a person I am now than who I was when I started the Overwatch League, I recognize now just the enormity of the information and everything that I have still yet to learn and improve upon myself. So yeah, and there's a whole bunch of different things that I could talk about here, and it's like when I talk about no, I don't want to talk about that. Like, I don't want to say anything that would sound like an excuse for the bad things that I did over the last year. Bad things, like, it's not always like, just things that I could have done better, I guess. So I don't want to make excuses for anything I did or anything like that. It's just kind of like, that list is pretty long of things that I wish I could have done differently or done better this year. But that's not going to hold me back. I'm not going to dwell on it. No regrets. I don't know. This year has been transformative. It's probably the best word to use for it. And I'm certainly looking forward to the future. So, okay, we're calm now. That was really hard to get out. As someone I look up to, I appreciate you being open to us about your mental health. You have inspired me to work in esports, and I hope to be on your level someday. Love you, Jane. Yeah, I definitely think that mental illness is something that is extremely stigmatized. And like one of the reasons why I hate probably the only reason that I dislike the idea of telling you guys that I'm working like with a psychologist through a potential, like, it's not confirmed. I don't know how you confirm mental diagnosis anyway. But I suppose the leading theory between myself and the psychologist I'm working with is bipolar 2. But I hate this kind of like stigma that people get when they talk about a mental illness, as if like they have that and they can't change. It's like, if you get a flu and then you're like, oh, I had the flu last week. It's kind of like everyone will be like, remember, that person is lesser. They had the flu once. It's like, yeah, mental illness isn't permanent. You can get over it. You can work with it. You can be functional. You can get better. You can be cured. So, like, yeah, I know that, especially in just like esports in general, not just the casual player base, but also the pro players. Like, it's one of the things that like really tears at my heart. And first of all, I got to put this disclaimer in there. Anytime that I'm going to talk about the Overwatch League, I'm going to talk in a general sense. It's not some coded message about the Dallas Fuel players. I have friends on other teams who are players. I have friends on other teams who are staff. These are commentary about the league as a whole, not specifically Dallas Fuel players. Like, there's a lot of people in the league. Like the pro players, there's some pro players in the league who are exactly like you'd think they are. They're just like perfect, well put together, hardworking, healthy, driven, competent, talented. It's just like they're insane. And then there's other people who are kind of like, it's one of the things that like really I kind of got to me is that I started noticing that there's a lot of people in the Overwatch League, both staff and players, who kind of like don't have a role model. It's a weird thing to say, but you have a lot of people, especially kind of like the people who come from, not the States, but like they're leaving their entire family and friends support network. And sometimes, especially if there's going to be, like teams falling out, or like, it's a more of a professional relationship or something like that, or like, they don't even speak English, something like that. It's kind of like these people, like a lot of people can feel very isolated. And I think that's going to be made a lot easier going into 2020. But I also think that the travel is probably, I'm not sure if the benefit of being in the team's home cities is going to outweigh the stress of kind of travel and competition next year. So like, I really truly worry about the health, both mentally and physically, of pro players and staff. And it's I really hope that my worst nightmares kind of don't come true in regards to that. But and it's like esports as an industry has a lot of maturing to do. It really does. And I'm starting to believe more and more that this kind of like notion that the 16 to 18 or 19 or maybe 20, like, 20 is already past your prime or anything like that. Like, I'm starting to think that's complete bullshit. I'm pretty sure that the future of esports is going to be kind of like collegiate and university level players. I think once esports kind of like matures as an industry and as a sport, the most competent and like the superstar players are going to be kind of like mid-20s. I'm pretty sure about that. And it's not just because like we put so much on like reaction time and things like that, but having a mature player is going to be just way more beneficial than kind of like a couple milliseconds of reaction time, especially in a game like Overwatch. Overwatch isn't kind of like Counter-Strike or anything like that, where there's kind of like it's only Twitch aim or something like that. Like, I do think that once kind of collegiate picks up and people start to actually, I'm pretty sure it's the only reason the age demographic is so low right now is just because once people kind of graduate from high school, they just simply don't have the time anymore in order to grind out video games. That's what they are. They're video games. So like when we look at kind of like Maryville and Harrisburg and a lot of the universities around the Texas area, I definitely think that's the future. I think that was also one of the largest difficulties for me going into and working with the fuel. So probably like the largest challenge is, so my experience is like I've been to university. I was in the military. I was a flight instructor, and I've also worked as at a library teaching children. So I've taught professionals, I've taught people in the military, I've taught academics, I've taught children, like I've taught just the entire damn. I've taught seniors. Like I did a couple classes teaching seniors how to use computers for the very first time. Like it's just, I've taught a very, very broad demographic. And I went into it kind of thinking that I was going to be teaching more along the lines of kind of like the flight instructor academic types. And it's like, it was very much teaching closer to like I forgot that they're still kids. Like the pro players are still kids. They don't have 4 years of post-secondary education. Like, it's amazing. You expect that it's just, like despite them being professional in title, they still have a lot to learn. And it's just like, we're nowhere near the potential skill ceiling of Overwatch. It's just, we're nowhere near to it. It's unbelievable to me. And one of the things that like I really want to kind of looking forward to getting, like this kind of segues into the kind of content that I want to do in the future, is that I really want to kind of like push the envelope about what is possible in Overwatch, both in terms of team strategy as well as individual capabilities. So, sometimes that'll verge into the theoretical, like, artificial intelligence. Did you guys know? I'm not sure if you guys follow AlphaGo or artificial intelligence or anything like that, but was it? This is like AlphaStar? I think it was AlphaStar. So the company that made the artificial intelligence thingy that beat Lee Sedol also they have some AI playing the StarCraft competitive ladder. So there's these bot accounts that are playing StarCraft. Artificial intelligence is playing StarCraft right now. And it plays 50 games and then it never plays again. And it's kind of things like that. And I was like, sometimes it's fun for me to think, like, what would happen if you had 6 artificial intelligences playing Overwatch? And, trying to kind of think about that and how it would affect kind of human players, or is it kind of completely different Overwatch from what we currently play? There's a whole bunch of things that, I could look into that. But anyway, I'm completely off topic. Jane, I've never been great at expressing my thoughts through text, but I just want to say that I love you and I'm glad you have been doing better recently. I look up to you so much, man. I'm like, I appreciate that. And I want to be, as kind of like, as a personal goal, I want to be, because I know that people already do look up to me, and that's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, It's so it's motivating, I guess. Like, I want to be somebody worthy of that. So, I'm balding and I still have to lose some weight, but you know what? I'm working on those. Well, not the balding thing. That's just a fight we can't win. We all love you, Jane. Stay strong. Thank you, Hype. Pookie with the 200 bits says, been diagnosed with bipolar 2 for 3 years now, and it gets so much easier once you know what you're dealing with. It's really just like hard training. Got to get in that top 500. Hang in there. Thanks, Pookie. I'd like it from the moment what I knew what it was, and I kind of got some tips about things that I can change in my lifestyle, and just kind of like, mental awareness and conscientiousness, like quality of life just fucking skyrocketed. It was insane. I fought sharks with a $5. Says, many people ignore their own mental health, but I'm happy to hear that you are taking care of your own mental health. We all struggle with it, and it's what takes a lot to recognize it and make it better. We watch you for your personality, not your content. I appreciate that. I fought sharks. And that is kind of like one of the things that is going to make social media easier for me. And it's one of the reasons that I have to have this talk. Like, it might be weird to some people to hear me kind of come on and talk quite honestly about some pretty personal stuff. It's very personal, but the reason why is because, like, I need to be honest about kind of what's going on, and I want to be kind of sincere and genuine in my content. So yeah, like I do kind of see you guys as my second family, a very, very large family, but you guys watch me quite frequently and enjoy the content. So, I want to make sure you're enjoying the time that you do spend watching my videos. Is OWL doing anything specific to address player and coaches' mental health? Yes, actually. One of the things that actually really helped is the Overwatch League invited a Harvard professor who specialized in stress management and gave a seminar. And actually, quite a few people went to that, and it helped quite a bit. So I think they understand that stress is an issue. Like, they could always be doing, well, I don't want to say that they could be. They definitely know that things are a stressful environment. Matt with the 300 bits says, tell me what you think of the Fusion. Oh, sorry. No, okay. I'll be completely honest. I haven't watched the Overwatch League for a while now. I've been otherwise preoccupied. So if you're asking for my opinion about like Sigma or the playoffs, you would probably have a better opinion from rolling dice. I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. But actually, in terms of like content, another one of the things that I want to do is like, I'm not going to do a lot of ranked play. I want to do, so this is kind of like another thing that I wanted to talk about my content, and hopefully you like it. But one of the things is that when I am going to be doing more like educational or analytical content, I'm going to be making those direct for YouTube. Because if I'm doing anything that requires like a lot of thinking, or I'm trying to make a point, like I want to make sure it's right. So my streams are going to become a lot more kind of like casual commentary, opinions. And once I'm in Dallas, there'll be some other kind of content coming out that way. But yeah, so I've been spending the time that I've been not streaming working on potential, I don't know how to phrase this without giving things away. There's some really, really, really cool videos coming soon. So I'm staying with the Dallas Fuel, but like, what am I doing with Elo Hell? Because Elo Hell is a pretty massive organization at this point, and not many people like know how big it is or everything that it does. So I tweeted out a little while ago about like doing tournaments for the tier 2 and tier 3 scene, and it is like 5 months until the next like big path to pro thingy mabob. So like, I want to, with the extra time that I'll have, I want to be making sure that I'm supporting tier 2 and tier 3 as much as possible. And where I see kind of like Elo Hell sitting is that, like, I see esports as an industry that still needs maturing. And I see a lot of great people in the Overwatch League right now, but I see like there's so many places where there's just like a lack of talent or something like that. You know, for example, like, since there's not many big tournaments, third-party tournaments happening, there's not that many kind of orgs or events or things happening within the Overwatch at like tier 3 level and down. You know, how do we kind of like, first of all, if you're a player, if you like, the casual player base doesn't really know how to even start the path to pro. You know, the start of the path to pro is Open Division, okay? But first of all, how do you sign up for Open Division? There's like no links in the client. There's no real advertisements for it ever. So you have to somehow magically know that the Open Division is a thing, and then you have to just completely on your own find 5 other people who you're going to compete in the Open Division with, and then maybe you're one of the like 2 teams that makes it into Contenders Trial. So like, the path to pro at the bottom could use a lot of work. It could use a lot of work. It could use pickup games. It could use weekly tournaments. It could use tournament series. It could use a lot of things. And Elo Hell's going to do pretty much all of that. The other thing is that, it's not just about the path to pro to players, but the Overwatch League needs good coaches. It needs good analysts. It needs good managers. It needs good casters. It needs good producers, observers, social media people. Like, it needs all of these positions, but there's not really a way that these people can actually get relevant industry experience in order to get into paying jobs. So this is, I don't like, this isn't like, I don't want to seem like some patron saint or anything like that. So like, Dallas pays me, you know, they pay me pretty good. It's not like, you know, I'm an assistant level position and I get paid appropriately. It's not like I'm swimming in money from the Fuel or anything like that. And obviously my Twitch and my YouTube streams are slightly more lucrative than my actual Fuel salary. So basically what I've decided is that, as some of you guys read in the July 14th tweet, I was like really kind of like, one of the things that really bothered me is that I was successful, but success wasn't bringing me happiness. And it's so cliche, but money doesn't buy happiness. And you really have to find a purpose, I guess, like something that you really love and want to do, and you would do even if it made you unhappy. Like, you have to find something worth being unhappy for if you're really going to kind of have that satisfaction and that fulfillment. Like, honestly, if I was going to give you any one thing that I've learned this entire year, it's don't seek happiness. It's find something worth being unhappy for. And yeah, like, find something where if there's tough times or if there's struggles or anything like that, you push through it. And for me, struggle's gone. You know, I don't have to push through anymore. But that being said, I did find a use for money that makes me happy, and that's helping other people kind of like succeed on their respective path to pro, whether it is as a player or as a staff or as a support. So basically what's happening is that all of my revenue from my stream and my YouTube is going directly to 2 sources. One is going to be Elo Hell, so that they can run tournaments, pay staff in order to organize those tournaments, stream those tournaments. And the other one is going to be a charity that I'm going to put up, and I have this written down. Silly me doesn't actually remember the 4 things that this charity is going to be working on. So mental health, family relationships, so I'm getting my mother and my father involved. So one of the things I want to do is kind of help with parent and player, or parent and staff relationship. Because esports is a new industry, there's a lot of people who have trouble convincing their parents or tell their parents kind of like, this is a real industry. I'm not just playing video games. Like, this is a career, especially the people who kind of like run tournaments. So people could be like, you're not even playing the game. You're watching other people playing the game. It's like parents don't understand that this is an industry. So I want to kind of do parent outreach. So like a parent support group where, I don't want to go on about it. So mental health, family relationships. And then I want to, if we can, start kind of sponsorships. So people who do well in the path to pro, but then want to kind of leave the esports industries. It's one of the things that like really bothers me about the way that like a professional player's career go, especially with the kind of current temperament that like 22 years old is like, you're on the decline, boy. And like right now it's kind of like, suddenly your accuracy is only 48% on Widow instead of 50%. Sorry, see that street? That's for you. And like, yes, they're overpaid for what they're doing, overpaid. That's not a good way to say it. Yes, they get paid well, but it's not unique to esports. Like these people, not good at financial management. Like I forget that I saw a stat a long time ago about like NBA players going bankrupt very kind of regularly after they left the NBA, despite getting paid way more than Overwatch League players are going. So it's like, you could, they got money, they'll be fine, but skills will go a lot farther than money. So I want to kind of make sure that there is, I'd like to kind of provide at least some sort of sponsorships for people who, if they are doing well and want to kind of like leave esports industry, we can be like, hey, here's some support to, go to post-secondary and, further your career or transition or retrain. Even if you're staying within the esports industry, how do you transition from professional player to broadcaster? Like there's a completely different skill set. And then the last kind of cause that I want to help support is female and LGBTQ promotion in esports. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of like live on my Dallas Fuel salary and then try and kind of, the rest of it like this, my stream and my content. And like, I wouldn't be successful without you guys. And I'm successful because of my love and your love for the Overwatch community. So yeah, like it's what I like doing. I want to see the community thrive. And if the Overwatch League is going to be successful, it needs as strong as an Overwatch community as possible. And like that's, a thriving, loving, fun Overwatch community is more valuable to me than anything I could buy. So that's kind of just what I've decided to do. Mick with the $3 says, hey, Jane, just want to say that you're not alone in the struggle. I'm 19, I've been fighting depression and anxiety since I was in my early teens. You may not realize it, but you've helped many people like me with your stream and your content. I had not realized that until I saw just the huge outpouring of support and messages I got after my July 14th tweet. So that was quite the realization, and I love each and every one of you more than you could know. I definitely feel way more refreshed, motivated, inspired. Like I've fully embraced kind of like what it means to be a content creator. It's just like I get to be creative, and why was I kind of, I was stifling my creativity by trying to kind of make content that other people would like instead of just like, what do I find fascinating today, and talking about that instead. So yeah, you might have some like really random videos and streams in the future, but I'm gonna enjoy them, and I hope you do too.